Husayn ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib, Arabic calendar, 10th Muharram R61, also spelled as Hussein, Hussein or Hussein, was the son of Ali ibn Abi Talib and Fatima Zahra and the younger brother of Hassan ibn Ali. Husayn is an important figure in Islam, as he is a member of the Ahl al-Bayt and Ahl al-Qissa, as well as being the third Shia Imam. Husayn became the head of Shia Imam and the head of Banu Hashim after the death of his older brother, Hassan ibn Ali, in 670. His father's supporters in Kufa gave their allegiance to him. However, he told them he was still bound to the peace treaty between Hassan and Muawiyah I, and they should wait until Muawiyah was dead. Later, Husayn did not accept the request of Muawiyah for the succession of his son, Yazid I, and considered this action a breach of the Hassan-Muawiyah treaty. When Muawiyah I died in 680, Husayn refused to pledge allegiance to Yazid I, who had just been appointed as Umayyad Caliph by Muawiyah, because he considered the Umayyads an oppressive and religiously misguided regime. He insisted on his legitimacy based on his own special position as a direct descendant of Muhammad and his legitimate legatees. As a consequence, he left Medina, his hometown, to take refuge in Mecca in R60. There, the people of Kufa sent letters to him, asking his help and pledging their allegiance to him. So he traveled towards Kufa. At a place near Kufa, known as Karbala, his caravan was intercepted by Yazid I's army. He was killed and beheaded in the Battle of Karbala on the 10th of October 680 by Shim ibn Thil-Jawshan, along with most of his family and companions. Anger at Husayn's death was turned into a rallying cry that helped undermine the Umayyad Caliphate legitimacy and ultimately overthrow the Umayyad Caliphate by Abbasid revolution. Husayn is highly regarded by Shia Muslims because he refused to pledge allegiance to Yazid I, the Umayyad Caliph, because he considered the rule of the Umayyads unjust. The annual memorial for him, his family, his children and his companions is called Ashura and is a day of mourning for Shiite Muslims. His action at Karbala fueled the later Shiite movement's early life. According to most reports, Husayn was born on the 10th of October AD 625. Husayn and his brother Hassan were the last descendants of Muhammad living during his lifetime and remaining after his death. There are many accounts of his love for them which refer to them together. Muhammad is reported to have said that, "He who loves me and loves these two, the father and the mother, will be with me at my place on the day of resurrection," and that, "Husayn is of me and I am his. Allah loves those who love Husayn." Husayn is a grandson among grandsons. The narration declares them the masters of the youth of paradise. This has been particularly important for the Shia, who have used it in support of the right of Muhammad's descendants to succeed him. The Shia maintain that the infallibility of the Imam is a basic rule in the Imamati. The theologians have defined the Imamati, saying, "Surely the Imamati is a grace from Allah, who grants it to the most perfect and best of his servants to him." Other traditions record Muhammad with his grandsons on his knees, on his shoulders, and even on his back during prayer at the moment of prostrating himself, when they were young. According to Wilfred Madelung, Muhammad loved them and declared them as his Ahl al-Bayt very frequently. According to popular Sunni belief, it refers to the household of Muhammad. Shia popular view is the members of Muhammad's family that were present at the incident of Mubahala. According to Muhammad Baqir Majlisi, who compiled Bihar al-Anwar, a collection of ahadith, chapter 46 verse 15 and chapter 89 verses 27 to 30 of the Quran are regarding Husayn ibn Ali. The incident of Mubahala in the year R10, a Christian envoy from Najran came to Muhammad to argue which of the two parties erred in its doctrine concerning Isa. After likening Jesus' miraculous birth to Adam's creation, who was born to neither a mother nor a father, and when the Christians did not accept the Islamic doctrine about Jesus, Muhammad was instructed to call them to Mubahala, where each party should ask God to destroy the false party and their families. If anyone dispute with you in this matter concerning Jesus, after the knowledge which has come to you, say, Come, let us call our sons and your sons, our women and your women, ourselves and yourselves. Then let us swear an oath and place the curse of God on those who lie. Sunni historians, except Tabari, who do not name the participants, mention Muhammad, Fatima, Hassan and Husayn. And some agree with the Shia tradition that Ali was also among the participants in this event on the side of Muhammad. Accordingly, in the verse of Mubahala the words, our sons, is representative of Hassan and Husayn, our women, would refer to Fatima, and ourselves, would be Ali, Husayn and Caliphate. Muawiyah, the governor of Levant, who had refused Ali's demands for allegiance, had long been in conflict with him. However, when Ali was assassinated and people gave allegiance to Hassan, Muawiyah prepared to fight with him. The battle led to inconclusive skirmishes between the armies of Hassan and Muawiyah. To avoid the agonies of another civil war, Hassan signed the Hassan-Muawiyah Treaty with Muawiyah, according to which Muawiyah wouldn't name a successor during his reign and let the Islamic world choose their successor after the latter. Muawiyah's era. According to the Shia, Husayn was the third Imam for a period of 10 years after the death of his brother Hassan in 669. All of this time but the last 6 months coinciding with the Caliphate of Muawiyah. After the peace treaty with Hassan, Muawiyah set out with his troops to Kufa, where at a public surrender ceremony Hassan rose and reminded the people that he and Husayn were the only grandsons of Muhammad, and that he had surrendered the reign to Muawiyah in the best interest of the community. 0 People, surely it was God who led you by the first of us and who has spared you bloodshed by the last of us. I have made peace with Muawiyah, and I know not whether haply this be not for your trial, and that ye may enjoy yourselves for a time, declared Hassan. In the 9-year period between Hassan's abdication in 41 660 and his death in 49 669, Hassan and Husayn retired in Medina, trying to keep aloof from political involvement for or against Muawiyah. Shiite feelings, however, though not visible above the surface, occasionally emerged in the form of small groups, mostly from Kufa, visiting Hassan and Husayn asking them to be their leaders, a request to which they declined to respond. Even 10 years later, after the death of Hassan, when Iraqis turned to his younger brother, Husayn, concerning an uprising, Husayn instructed them to wait as long as Muawiyah was alive due to Hassan's peace treaty with him. Later on, however, and before his death, Muawiyah named his son Yazid as his successor. Yazid's rule. One of the important points of the treaty made between Hassan and Muawiyah was that Muawiyah not designate anyone as his successor after his death. But after the death of Hassan, Muawiyah, thinking that no one would be courageous enough to object to his decision as the caliph, designated his son, Yazid I, as his successor in AD 680, breaking the treaty. Robert Payne quotes Muawiyah in History of Islam as telling his son Yazid to defeat Husayn because Muawiyah thought he was surely preparing an army against him, but to deal with him gently thereafter, as Husayn was a descendant of Muhammad, but to deal with Abdullah al-Zubair swiftly, as Muawiyah feared him the most. Uprising in April 680, Yazid I succeeded his father Muawiyah as the new caliph. Yazid immediately instructed the governor of Medina to compel Husayn and few other prominent figures to pledge their allegiance. Husayn, however, refrained from it, believing that Yazid was openly going against the teachings of Islam in public and changing the Sunnah of Muhammad. In his view, the integrity and survival of the Islamic community depended on the re-establishment of the correct guidance. He, therefore, accompanied by his household, his sons, brothers, and the sons of Hassan, left Medina to seek asylum in Mecca. While in Mecca, Abdallah ibn al-Zubair, Abdullah ibn Umar and Abdullah ibn Abbas advised Husayn ibn Ali to make Mecca his base and fight against Yazid from Mecca. On the other hand, the people in Kufa who were informed about Muawiyah's death sent letters urging Husayn to join them and pledged to support him against Umayyads. Husayn wrote back to them saying that he would send his cousin Muslim ibn Aqil to report to him on the situation. If he found them united as their letters indicated, he would speedily join them, because Imam should act in accordance with the Quran, uphold justice, proclaim the truth, and dedicate himself to the cause of God. The mission of Muslim was initially successful, and according to reports 18,000 men pledged their allegiance. Before news of the adverse turn of events arrived in Mecca, Husayn set out for Kufa. On the way, Husayn found that his messenger, Muslim ibn Aqil, was killed in Kufa. He broke the news to his supporters and informed them that people had deserted him. Then, he encouraged anyone who so wished to leave freely without guilt. Most of those who had joined him at various stages on the way from Mecca now left him. Battle of Karbala. On his path towards Kufa, Husayn encountered with the army of Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad. In his path towards Kufa, Husayn addressed the Kufan's army, reminding them that they had invited him to come because they were without an imam. He told him that he intended to proceed to Kufa with their support, but if they were now opposed to his coming, he would return to where he had come from. However, the army urged him to choose another way. Thus, he turned to left and reached Karbala, where the army forced him not to go further and stop at a location that was without water. Umar ibn Sa'd, the head of Kufan army, sent a messenger to Husayn to inquire about the purpose of his coming to Iraq. Husayn answered again that he had responded to the invitation of the people of Kufa but was ready to leave if they now disliked his presence. When Umar ibn Sa'd, the head of Kufan army, reported it back to Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad, the governor instructed him to offer Husayn and his supporters the opportunity to swear allegiance to Yazid. He also ordered Umar ibn Sa'd to cut off Husayn and his followers from access to the water of the Euphrates. On the next morning, as Omar b. Sa'di arranged the Kufan army in battle order, Al-Har ibn Yazid al-Tamimi challenged him and went over to Husayn. He vainly addressed the Kufans, rebuking them for their treachery to the grandson of Muhammad, and was killed in the battle. The Battle of Karbala lasted from morning till sunset of October 10, 680. All Husayn's small group of companions and family members fought with a large army under the command of Umar ibn Sa'd and were killed near the river from where they were not allowed to get any water. The renowned historian Abu Rayhan al-Biruni states, "Then fire was set to their camp and the bodies were trampled by the hoofs of the horses." Nobody in the history of the humankind has seen such atrocities. Once the Umayyad troops had mass murdered Husayn and his male followers. They looted the tents, stripped the women of their jewelry, and took the skin upon which Zayn al-Abidin was prostrate. It is said that Shemr was about to kill him, but Husayn's sister Zainab was able to make Umar ibn Sa'd, the Umayyad commander, to let him alive. He was taken along with the enslaved women to the Caliph in Damascus, and eventually he was allowed to return to Medina. Aftermath. When Husayn was killed in Karbala, Abdallah ibn al-Zubair, the grandson of Abu Bakr and the cousin of Qasim ibn Muhammad ibn Abu Bakr, collected the people of Mecca and made the following speech. O people! No other people are worse than Iraqis, and among the Iraqis, the people of Kufa are the worst. They repeatedly wrote letters and called Imam Husayn to them and took bay'at for his caliphate. But when Ibn Sayyad arrived in Kufa, they rallied around him and killed Imam Husayn, who was pious, observed the fast. When he heard about this, Yazid had a silver chain made and sent to Mecca with the intention of having Walid ibn Utbah arrest Ibn al-Zubayr with it. Eventually Abdallah ibn al-Zubayr consolidated his power by sending a governor to Kufa. Soon, Abdallah ibn al-Zubayr established his power in Iraq, southern Arabia and in the greater part of Syria, and parts of Egypt. Yazid tried to end Abdallah ibn al-Zubayr's rebellion by invading the Hejaz, and took Medina after the bloody Battle of Al-Harra followed by the siege of Mecca, but his sudden death ended the campaign and threw the Umayyads into disarray, with civil war eventually breaking out. This essentially split the Islamic Empire into two spheres with two different caliphs, but soon the Umayyad civil war was ended, and Abdallah ibn al-Zubayr lost Egypt and whatever he had of Syria to Marwan I. This, coupled with the Kharijite rebellions in Iraq, reduced his domain to only the Hejaz. In Mecca and Medina, Husayn's family had a strong support base and the people were willing to stand up for them. Husayn's remaining family moved back to Medina. Abdallah ibn al-Zubayr was the grandson of Abu Bakr and the cousin of Qasim ibn Muhammad ibn Abu Bakr. Both Abdallah ibn al-Zubayr and Qasim ibn Muhammad ibn Abu Bakr were Aisha's nephews. Qasim ibn Muhammad ibn Abu Bakr was also the grandfather of Imam Jafar al-Sadiq. Abdallah ibn al-Zubayr was finally defeated by Abd al-Malik ibn Marwan, who sent al-Hajjaj ibn Yusuf. Hajjaj defeated and killed Abdallah ibn al-Zubayr on the battlefield in 692, beheading him and crucifying his body, re-establishing Umayyad control over the empire. A few years later, the people of Kufa called Zayd ibn Ali, the grandson of Husayn, over to Kufa. Zaydis believed that on the last hour of Zayd ibn Ali was also betrayed by the people in Kufa, who said to him, "May God have mercy on you."